Okay, here we are. Um, Here we are, Tuesday, the 2nd of February. I had to make sure that it was working, and I'm seeing here that it is working. And this is R21001, and I am recording this so that you can review it after class at your leisure, because I'm going to make a presentation like introduction to the interface, Photoshop interface, and our first tutorial. And you're not going to be able to do it. If we're in class, you could be doing it and I could be walking around and enjoying the progress, but I can't do that. So you're going to do it yourself with this movie as a reference point, and then next class you'll present it. So that makes sense? Yes? Okay. Thank you for being present, those of you who are present, and so I can see you, and it makes me happy. Like I'm not talking to myself. And so here's a course description. This is your learning goals. Here's a philosophy, and there's a technical goals. And it's telling you everything we're going to learn, and we'll learn other stuff as well. And artistic goals. And I don't think I need to. You can read this. Please do read this on your own, because then me reading it out loud isn't necessary. But it gives you the point of view, my point of view on how to approach this. So it'd be good that you knew, and if you have any suggestions, tell me about them. This is the submission policy. Submit. Did everybody get a link to the Dropbox, class Dropbox? Yes.
I did.
Yes. Okay. Lily, thank you for saying yes. So to that, you'll submit a layer of project files into the Dropbox. Title of the file, this is your labeling methodology. Title of the file, your name, resolution, RGB, red, green, blue, and you save as a PSD. I'm going to show you what all that means. But here it is in Word, so you don't forget. Project 2 and 4 is the exemption to this submission policy. That it would be how you label your files. And you put them layered into the Dropbox. Except for project 2 is going to be 300 DPI. It's a higher resolution because we're going to be retouching it. And project 4 is a video. I'll go over this when we get there. So you're going to put the video in the Dropbox, and you're going to send me a screenshot of the layers and the timeline, and I'll understand what's going on. But that'll be what I'm dealing with here is very heavy files that will take to the Dropbox, and I don't want to send you to send those heavy files. That would be lots of memory to me, because you can't send them on a straight email, but you can put them in a Dropbox, and I can access the Dropbox. So all those files that are layered will be going to the Dropbox. Then you're going to flatten your image and submit them to tutorials as flattened file, and email the flattened file to myself right there.
Sorry, I just have one question. I'm having a hard time finding the syllabus.
Who's that?
Kira.
Kira. Well, let's go look for Kira here.
I think the only folder I have is the submission folder.
Let me see. Kira Matson.
Yeah.
There's you see it on the screen? Red PDF.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's it.
I just, in my folder, I'm not seeing, all I have, it just says empty.
Empty.
It says there's no items in this folder.
You see your name right up here?
Uh-huh.
That's your folder.
Okay, how do I get to it?
Well, are you in Art 210 Digital Imaging 01?
Yeah, I just clicked the link that you emailed out today.
Oh, that is the link to the Dropbox. Yes, there's nothing in it. That's not your folder. That's where you're going to put your projects.
Gotcha. Okay, I think I found it now. It was just in a different email.
Yeah, you got to, there's two different links, I think. You got to remember those, copy down. I sent you a link to the Dropbox. There's nothing in it now. You're going to put your projects, your layered projects, your heavy memory projects here. You're going to flatten those projects and send to me as a JPEG flat. They'll be very small. I'll be able to receive them as an email. Everybody is going to do the tutorials and send me, and don't put them in the Dropbox, no need to. I just want a record that you've done the tutorial, so you will flatten it and send me a JPEG flattened file, which will be very small in terms of memory, and I'll be able to receive it. So I'm going to say this again because I like to say things over and over again. The projects go in the Dropbox as layered files, but a copy of it gets sent to me as a flattened file, JPEG. The Dropbox files are layered and they'll be saved as Photoshop documents, PSD. JPEGs will be sent to me of the flattened files. Both of them, both the projects and the tutorials will come to me as flattened files at my email. And I'll give you credit. When I get a project, then I'll go to the Dropbox and look at the project with the layers. That way I don't have to have all these heavy files. So I said that a couple times. Does that make sense to everybody? Yep. Okay. So we're all right with what so far, right? Because the submission policy is important because it gets so confusing. So here's the projects. This is, we're going to start that one today. Well, we're going to start the prelude to this one today because it's a tutorial. And no, you can look at all the projects, and I already went over that. And there's kind of grade weights and class participation. I really am. If you participate, you'll get a better grade. Because I enjoy the back and forth discussions. And if you're off in the corner, then that will not be as fun for me nor for you. Okay, I'm gonna give if you miss a deadline, I'm giving you a grade reduction. Then that won't change, but at the end of the semester, I will allow, if you don't like a grade and you want to make it better, you can resubmit at the end of the semester, and I will, if it's a better, I'll give you a better grade. So I'm encouraging improvement by taking a resubmission, and I don't mind giving everybody good grades, but you gotta match, you gotta rise to the occasion, and that doesn't mean anything because we're not there anymore. So here's the units of instruction. And all of these will be credits. You get a credit. You get a credit. A credit to be on your grade sheet, and you're going to get a grade sheet. I can make, because that's a credit, a plus. I can make that available to you anytime you want, but you will get, I will send it to you at least twice during the semester, so you know where you stand, what you have finished and what you haven't finished. I'll take any of these submissions, the tutorials, at any time. These need to be submitted, the graded projects need to be submitted at the deadline. So again, if you miss a tutorial, I'll accept it at any time during the semester. And you'll know how to do the tutorial because we're going to record all of these. So you just have to go back to the recording and do the tutorial. This is how you learn how to run the software, is doing these tutorials. And then you execute what you've learned here on these projects. And there's like 4 projects plus the combined tutorials. So here, all tutorials will be combined into one grade weight and equal to 1 project. That would be, this is like a project. There are 11 tutorials. If you have submitted and passed 9 tutorials, you will get an A. That means you completed, by passing, means you completed the tutorial and submitted it. You will get an A, 10. If you have not submitted or passed 9 tutorials, you will get an F. So I'm allowing you, that'll be a 0. So this is if here's a excellent student. And I had actually a student last semester that got straight A's, and that's very seldom because I've ever had that. But there is straight A's. And imagine there's 9 pluses here. What does it say? If you've not submitted, imagine there's only 8 pluses here, and then I'd add that up 8. Oh, this person got a 0 there. So and here they got a 10. So so if I add all of this up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and divide by 6, so that is 50. So somebody tell me, what is 50 divided by 6? Equals what?
8.3.
Equals what?
8.3333.
8.3. All right. So I'm going to go down over here to see what are my here's the grades. 8.10 is an A, 9 is an A plus, 8.3 is a B plus. So just because this person, hypothetical person, these are all, there's only 8 pluses here and the rest are zeros, got a 0 there, their grade came down from an A to a B plus. So I just did that so you understand how I'm going to grade. Everybody got that clear? Yes? Okay, no questions? So now you know how. So I'm gonna take these away. And if you, at the end of the semester, could you tell me what grade I'm gonna get? I'm just gonna give you this, let you figure it out and say that'll be your grade. And it's, oh, I gotta do a couple more tutorials, do them, and then you'll get a 10. So just to make sure that you understand that. And okay, I'm gonna go a little light-handed on the attendance policy because I know we're all got issues out there. It's like I can't today, my email won't work, my school email won't work. So there's all kinds of issues to deal with. So if you can't make it, let me know and I'll be easy on you. So any questions so far on what I presented? Everybody all right? Okay. Then we'll go forward. And what I'm going to do is this right here. And it's going to be an introduction. 2 things I'm going to do here. Introduce Photoshop and file new. What does it say? 8.5 wide by 11. Oh, right off the get-go, I don't like the orientation. That's a portrait. So I'm going to change that. Your syllabus says 8.5 by 11. I'm going to go to inches. I want file new inches, width 11 by 8.5. 8.5, and I'm working on inches, but of course I have all these other measuring capabilities. But we'll stay to inches for now. And this resolution is pixels per inch is what that means. 72 is the standard for websites, screen resolution. I think it's a little higher now, we'll get to that. But that is a default. We're gonna work on 150 because that will print on a home laser printer and you won't see the pixels. And a 72, as I said, is screen resolution for the internet. 90 is something like one of these tabloids, black and white tabloid newspaper type. 300 is a glossy magazine, just to give you a range. And 150 is what we're going to work on because you make a print, at least in the lab at school, and it'll be really fine print. So I'm going to do that. And here I got that there's a ruler, and that ruler is not, even though I set those at inches, that's not set at inches, that's set at pixels. And there I'm right clicking. So I'm going to change that back to inches. And there I got 0 to 11, 0 to 8.5. So that is the canvas size. And here I'm going to do a kind of a tour of Photoshop, kind of a quick tour, and I'll do it again next week maybe, just to remind everybody. That I'm holding my Option key down and I'm using my scroll bar and I'm making that smaller. But look, it isn't really smaller. Image size, this has everything to do with the image. All of this stuff. That image size is in inches, 11 by 8.4. I hit 8.5. That's the software. At 150, that's what it is. So I can go here, go File, New. That's where we make a new document. So that is. If I go Command 0, that fits it into the screen. And I'm going to go up here and check that. And it hasn't changed any size. 11 by 8.4 by 150. Okay. So Command minus, first keystroke, will push it back. Command plus will bring it forward. But it's not changing in the size. It's only changing the look of the canvas in ratio to the screen resolution, which is a lecture into itself because this screen has a pixel resolution of whatever it is. I think it's, well, I can figure it out. It used to be 72 and older screens, pixels per inch. So image size, pixels per inch, 150 pixels per inch. Fits it into the screen resolution. That's at 100%, bottom left-hand corner. If I go and take that 100%, go 200%, that makes it look much bigger, but it isn't. Everybody understand that? Yeah, okay, cool. Command 0, so you need to know all these keystrokes. Command minus, Command plus, scroll bar, roller bar, if you got that. And that's how you navigate, as well as I can go when I'm up close, I get these side things going on. All right. And I have a window up here and it has all of the opportunities to do stuff. And there's some stuff you have to have on the screen at all times. And I'm taking everything off just to show you the basic. I'm gonna get rid of this. Basic canvas, that's all that's there. In fact, if I go Command R, I can get rid of the ruler. So all I have is my canvas and I have no tools, I have no ability to do anything. So I have to have some things on, but I don't need everything on. I only need a few things that's on the screen at all times. And one of them is the application frame. There it is, you see it. The other is the tools. There's the tools, and these float. or you can lock into the application frame. The other is the channels. If you think about the days when you had film and a camera, that's like the film and the camera, analogous to the film and the camera before digital cameras. Does everybody know what ever had a camera with a film in it? Yes, okay, good. And then I have to have layers. That is all I have to have on screen at all times. I've got all these buttons here. And these buttons are the same thing as this, but they're icons. They're iconic. And I'm not going to go and I can point to these buttons, but I'm not going to worry about those because I'm going to the foundational source for what this does. They're right in here. So that is what we need to know to start with. Tools, channels, layers, and your workspace is essentials. We're going to go down to there at the end of the semester, but you see we've got these other things going on as well. This essentially they change the look of the software, but we're going to stay at essentials for now. And we're going to have, and of course I've got all of these other things that are in here on top of each other, and I can make that go to the buttons again, and I want to have the layers open. So can I put that in here? Yes, but here, so there's layers. Now I'm going to put that back because I said I was going to go and use to get it from here, layers. See, what happened there is that I want to put that away there. So they're not stacked on top of each other. And these also go in the application frame. I like to float around. I won't try to figure it out. There, when I get that blue bar, it's application frame. I like to float these around because then I can move them out of the way. And I can, there I went in there, channels. I can move it down so I can get it small. And that is white. This is the background color, that's white. That's foreground color, that's black. So I'm going to start off this, Command R, gotta have the rulers on as well. I'm going to start off by going to the color picker. I clicked on the color picker, and there's the black. And I want to go to hue. All right, so we're in the color picker. I'll just start here. This is saturation. That's a slider. Highly saturated, not saturated. We're by default, I think everybody's going to be in hue, which is just fine. That's black. That's red. So I go, that is the former color. This is the new color, which I just picked. I can move this cursor all the way around here. I can move, this is the entire color wheel. I can move to any color you want, move to that color. And I have these, again, these hue, saturation, brightness, the conditions of color, and they present themselves as different kinds of ramps. So you've got the cursor and you got the hue. This is hue, got the cursor. This is red, green, blue, and that's the channels. That's a combined channel, red, green, blue. So that is what this is. And you notice that when I move this around, these numbers change. So all of these numbers are correlated to colors. And what that means is that you can issue a number to someone and it'll come up with the exact color that you have identified, regardless of the calibration of the screen. This is CMYK is for printing. Before the computer was invented, everything was only CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, black. That correlates to red, green, blue. But they correlate, but they're not. Cyan is a condition of blue. Magenta is a condition of red. Yellow is a condition of green. And black is black. Any rate, that was pre-computer. This is light. This is ink. That is the web color. This is web only color. And now that was in the early part of the internet. That was very important to unify the colors. And there, you can see the color space is very small. The color space of CMYK is small as well. The color space I'm talking about like space between my hands, space. RGB is very big. That's would be the colors that show. So you have your most capability, millions of colors in RGB. That right there is a warning that says you're out of gamut, you're out of CMYK gamut. So click there. That is the only color that's going to print. But if I wanted to do this, it's going to, it won't print. It'll, you know, I got to click that box and it'll print there. Now, if I want to go up here, and that's not going to, this is the web, that's right down here. And that's not going to print on the web, so I got to go like there, and that is going to print on the web. And if I could go and click that, you can see it's that part of that space right there. Click that like that. So that's what those alerts are. And you need to be aware of those if indeed you're going to print on paper, because CMYK offset. Most places, printers now will take an RGB and they automatically change it to CMYK. I'm giving you this information because that's kind of the history of it, even though the technology is now where I just delivered a catalog. In fact, I delivered a school catalog for the senior art exhibition, and it's being printed right now. And the printer, this is an online printer, and they stipulate to leave the RGB, and they do the color calibration and change it to CMYK, because this cyan, magenta, yellow, black are actually plates on a roller with ink on them, and they go through the printer 4 times to put these colors together. That's where the dots per inch come in offset printing. So it's offset. The ink is offset to the paper. Pixels per inch, I'm going to go and say OK, and I'm going to go to my brush, and that's the brush. Oh, I'm missing something up here. I forgot. We need to have, is it info? No, that's good, but that's not what we need to have. What is it? Options. There. That every tool has its own options. You see how they change when you go to the tools? So they have their own opportunities, and you have to be aware of what's going on here. So we have to have options. Everything down here is on the screen, plus layers and channels. But what I was going to try to do, I went to my tool, my brush. There's a brush, and there's a big round circle, and that is the size of the brush. And I said, oh, I got to go up and see my options to see what I got to do with the brushes. So that's what this is. And that's where we're going to start. I'm going to go like that. And there is a dot. And if I get up close, like real close, there, I don't know if you can see it, but there's the pixels. Can you see them? You can see it. So that your eye puts together those pixels. And you don't see those pixels when the resolution, image size, resolution is at least 150. If I make that down to 72, those pixels are going to get bigger according to the size of your document. And we're going to explore that a little more depth later on, but you get the idea. So there is a brush, and I can make that brush soft. I'm option scrolling with a roller bar. There's a soft brush. There's a hard brush. There is a smaller brush. And I can make that brush bigger by the brackets, which is really nice shortcut. So use your brackets. Or first of all, you can start up and use it this size. Then I got a whole bunch of different brushes going on. There's like, these are folders of brushes. And by the way, I can make my own brush, but we're going to do that later on. So I got all these other brushes going on. And I don't know, that didn't seem to do anything. Hard pressure, soft pressure, media dry brushes. Let's see what was in there. Oh, that's interesting. So our first tutorial is to do what I'm doing. Now I want to go and change a color. You want to explore this and explore the colors, explore the brushes. You've got a whole bunch of, and you're making, well, what are you making? Are you making a landscape? You're making an abstract painting? You're really using this to figure out the different things you can do. Weird. That is a spongy type thing. Not to say that I've used all these brushes, but this is your charge to go and figure this out. Now I got this folder here. What does this folder do? Brush settings. Well, that has more opportunities with brushes. Shape dynamics, scattering, brush noise, spacing. That will make. I got to get another brush that's a straight brush here. Let's see what this does. Spacing. Oh, what am I doing? I'm smushing. I'm smushing. Oh. At any rate, size, hardness. You get the idea. I'm not claiming to have explored all of this, and you don't need to explore it either, but you need to get familiar with it. You need to get familiar with what's going on here. Oh, I'm under my smudge tool, no wonder. Look, that's a smudge tool. How did I get there? That's why it's doing that. I was surprising myself. Why is it smudging? Well, I'm in the smudge tool. We're going to smudge later. There's a blur tool, sharpen tool, but really I want to stick with the brushes and spacing. I was just exploring what spacing does, because there you see it makes it like dots. If I was to go and use a regular brush and space this out. All right, you get the spirit here of what you're exploring with the brushes. So now we need to know, we've got to take this further with introducing a selection tool. Now, the selection tool will make a selection, because this is another way to paint, through like cutting out scissors out of and moving things around. We're painting traditionally with a brush here. Now we're going to paint with cutting and pasting pieces of this image. And so I'm going to go, and I have a whole bunch of area tools that single out areas like scissors would. Freehand, and we're going to go over those in our first tutorial, but I don't think that's today. I'm just going to do this today. Freehand, and these two are by shapes, like I'm going to make a shape, and this is by color, except for that one. That's the object. We're going to get to all of these real soon, because that's what we're doing. But if I got that selection tool and I move it around, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything, because other than I can go here and and fill this, that I can do, edit, fill, foreground, what I want. I want the foreground color, that's gonna be green. Okay, there, it filled it. Can I move it around? No, I can't move it around. I'm gonna go and just for fun, I'm gonna take a color, blue, and I'm gonna switch the foreground color and the background color. This is the default. If I click that, it'll go back to black and white. That's default. Now the foreground color is white, so I'm gonna double click there, and I'm gonna pick red. So I got red and blue. Now, if I go edit, fill, foreground color, I go okay, and I want to move that. If I move this, it's not going to move it. So if I go and pick up go to my move tool, that's going to move that shape, and it does. And what happens, why is that blue? Well, that's blue because it's the background color. So whatever the background color is it's going to be revealed. So if I go back to, I'm going to go Command D, I go back to the default, and I make a shape. And let's say I fill that with black. Now, the keystroke for that is Option Delete or Edit, Fill, foreground color, black. And I move that, it's going to be white. And indeed, it is white. So if I change this color to something else, Command D, and I go here, and here's a freehand tool, click, 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 lasso freehand, and I move that, and I double click, there's my selection, and I'll move it somewhere else so I can fill it with something. We'll fill it with something. I switch the foreground and background color. And by the way, the keystroke, very important keystrokes on your test. Oh, one test, by the way, it's the end of the semester. We're just gonna have fun. Take the test at the end. X, 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 you see the foreground, background color switch. Option Delete, that is filling with the foreground color. Command Delete, that's filling with the background color. So there are some couple of keystrokes, and I know that if I go Option Delete and I go to move this, that is going to be black, and indeed it is. So that's how that works. This is now floating on top of the image. See, it's floating around there, but it's not on a separate layer. I still on a background layer. So I'm gonna go Command D, deselects the layer. A very important keystroke, Command D, deselects the layer, and it pastes it down. All right, everybody getting this? Yes, everybody says. Oh, I'm going to, what the goal here is to make all the white go away and fill with color. But also, I'm gonna open up a file to jump ahead so I'm not here finishing my masterpiece in front of you. You can do this all yourself. But also, I want you to make a grid. And there I'm making a 1/2 inch grid. Or it's your choice. You can make an inch grid if you want. And we're going to get introduced to saving these selections. But first of all, I've got to have a grid. And I'm going to come up here and open this up. I don't want that one. It's too far ahead. So there you see my grid. I just started to make this grid right here. But also I filled out, this is from a previous semester, I filled out the paintbrush and selection, filling and moving exercise to make a nice, interesting, abstract picture. And here's some weird brushes going on. So your goal between this week and next week is to do this, but also make this grid by pulling the guides out vertically. I got to go in between the rulers here and pull one down horizontally. And try to make a nice grid. This, by the way, is going to be the instructions for the first project you get a grade on. This is not a grade. This is a tutorial. So there I made a grid, and it's a 1/2-inch grid. This image is, let's just check, because it's always, you always want to check 11 by 8.5 by 150. That's what I want. I changed it from the syllabus. It was vertical. This is horizontal. And I got a background here, but I want to demonstrate how to make a selection here, and because I've got another layer, you can see it, and we're going to get there right now. And I want to make a selection. Oh, give me a second, because I don't want to. I want as much real estate as possible here. All right, I'm going to make a selection. And what I'm going to do, we made this grid is to make a checkerboard. I'm going to go make that selection, go select, save selection, because this is a selection. And the reason for this is that you can do a lot of selections and lose it if you can't save the selection and reload it at a later time, like tomorrow or another time. First, name it something. Square. Squared. Okay. And there you're going to see, if I go to my channels box, there it is. I still got the selection going on. Command D deselects the selection. So that selection is saved as a channel in a channels box, first squared as a mask. And a mask is just like a Halloween mask, it covers something up. Or with a selection, it cuts a hole in something, it fills something, or it moves something. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to come back later, because this is going to get very complex. That's why we have to save the selections. And I'm going to go back. You see, I'm just looking at the selection right here, but I'm still engaged. This is dark. I'm engaged in the composite RGB, and here's my layers, and I'm on the background layer. Pretend that's not there. We're going to get there in a second. And there is my selection, and that is actually I can see it, but because of its amber default quality, it's getting hidden by the color. So this is by default, it's amber. Well, we call it amberlith, and that's a piece of plastic that is used as a mask in the old days when there was no digital. This is the parallel to it, and that's why it's amber. You'd have to mask something out to make type go around it when it printed, or knock it out of a window of some sort. If I change that, now you're gonna watch, now I've changed that color. There it's green. Just, I'm doing this only to demonstrate that you can see it. There, you see that green right there? I'm gonna cut that eyeball off. It goes away, cut it on. So I'm able to see the mask through the, see the image through the mask, so that I can actually, if I wanted to make a mask of just this line, I could do that with this and other ways, and save that. But we're just going to keep it simple, and I'm going to make another selection. I got the background showing, and I've got the first square, the mask showing with an eyeball on it, but I'm engaged in the RGB. So here you're getting a sense of why we need to have all this stuff going on, because this is really the dashboard of your image making. Select, save selection, and I don't want to make this new. I want to put it to first squared, and this one is another mask. I'm gonna get to that in a second. And I'm gonna add the channel, there it is, go okay, and there it is. Now I still got that selection going on. So, and you know that if I don't go to the move tool, I'm not gonna move into the image, I'm engaged in the image. If I stay in the selection, I can move the selection by itself. And I can come up here and go select, save selection. Oh, I don't want to make a new one because that's going to add another one here. I already got two. New, first squared, add to channel, not replace because that's going to get rid of these two green masks. Add to channel. Okay, there I got another one. So I'm making my checkerboard. I'll do that. I'll go back one step. I will Command D, go back one step and start it over again. Just so we understand this clearly. I made a selection, went select, save selection. I chose the channel, the first one I made, and there it is. I'm looking at it. Add a channel, and I go okay, and it adds it. Command D. I don't need to look at this to do that. If I have that on, I'll know exactly where to do it, but I don't need to. I can go over here. I can go make a selection, select, save selection, first squared, add the channel. You know, and also I can subtract, I can intersect, I can replace. I got all these options. Okay, now I don't know that's there until I come down here and look at it. And there it is. There, my selection is still engaged. And so this is what I've done so far. Now I can move this here, working on there I've disengaged the RGB and I'm right on the channel itself. This doesn't print, by the way, neither do the guides. It's the background color that would print. The background layer, which happens to be locked. Select, save selection, first squared, add the channel, okay. So you get the idea, right? And then you're gonna say, or it's gonna occur to you, oh, hey, there's a way to do this simpler. Now I did this, what was new with this last step is I wasn't looking at the RGB picture to do it. I was just working on a channel on its own, building a checkerboard square. So I can go like select. Oh, there's two more steps I want to go. I'm in my not the move tool. If I'm in the move tool, I'm going to move that square. So I'm going to stay in the selection tool, just move the selection. And I can see my grid isn't perfect. And I'm going to go Command Delete. That is filling it with the foreground or the background color. I could go and move this over and go Option Delete. I switch the foreground background color with that arrow or X. So I can actually add the selections not by going select, save selection, first squared, add the channel, okay. I can jump those steps by just going and moving the selection and going Option Delete. Now, if this is channels are shades of gray. I'm gonna go Command D and show you that. So that's blue. I take my eyeball off the mask. This is the blue channel, and that means that everything is being blocked out from the light coming from behind within the computer screen, except for blue. Same with the green, but notice they're just shades of gray. Same with the red. Notice they're just shades of gray because all the red is, everything but red is being blocked out. The composite will bring all those together. So this is, here I'm working on this channel and that's black, but if that color right there was a gray, that means when I go and make another one and go Option Delete, it's going to come in gray. And what that is going to do is that's 100% black, that's about 40% black. And so that light will be more transparent. Right now, we're just going to go 100% or or 100% transparent or 100% black. Command delete, Command D. So I'm going to finish this little talk here by going select, load selection. There's my channel right there. Okay. And the brilliance of this is I can move this whole thing and go Command delete. Select, load selection, first squared. Okay, I can move the whole thing. And if I did this logically, I could just step across it. Select, save selection, first squared, add the channel. Okay, there I did it the longer way instead of just filling it with black. All right, that is what this is. That's the entire, I just started it out, but I had already done this previously just to make, so I just cut off some time here. That's what this is. And it's a square made by lining up the grid. And I don't need that grid anymore, so I can go Command colon and that grid goes off. But I got this mask, and what this mask is going to be used for, I'm going to go back and click the RGB on, and I don't need to look at this mask. There it is. That's back to the red color, amberlith color, not the green because I deleted that change of color. So that's the red, but really it's black. It's only red when you have it engaged with the background color. So I'm going to go and go. I don't need to look at it because I'm going to use it now. Select, load selection. Happy mask, happy Halloween. Well, that was done Halloween of last semester, apparently. So that is the full mask of the grid. I'm gonna go, okay, there it is right there. It's all engaged. And oh, by the way, that there means that's the selection. This is very important. You got to know this is like basic. This is the selection. See that arrow and that little dotted line going around the rectangle? That's the selection. That's not the selection. So if I was to go edit, fill, foreground color, which is blue, okay, you can see it's filling that with blue and it's not filling this. That's the point. There's the selection, there's the selection. That works with all of these area selection tools. And you have to know what is, and you don't know unless you check. So I check. And what I want to do here is go Command J, which is to make a new layer. Duplicate layer. I want to duplicate not the layer, I want to duplicate the what's in the selection. So the keystroke for that is Command J. And there it is, right there, but you can't tell it's there because it's exactly the same thing on top of it. But I can go like that and say that, oh, this here is transparency, those little dots. So I have cut out that much of my image. But because it is all the same, I can't tell. I could go over here and I can move it. I can move it with the move tool. I can move it, and that'll give some sort of difference, but there's a better way to do this. So I'm going to go and I'm going to delete that and do this again. I'm going to duplicate, I'll delete this because I'll do it over again. I'm going to duplicate this layer by going down here. See, there's a garbage. I put those two layers in the garbage, or I can duplicate them here, or I can go layer, duplicate layer here, or I can go layer, duplicate layer here. You can do any of those ways are perfectly equal in how to do it. I like to take it down to that icon, but any way you want to do it. There, I duplicated that layer. So Command 0 is the image with two layers that they're like, lose my real estate, two layers, one on top of each other. Now, if I want to go over here to, we're talking about everything about layers. And oh, by the way, here's everything about layers. Everything here is also here, layers, options for layers. And all these windows have these little flyouts. And this is image. So this is the image itself. And so I want to do some kind of adjustments. And we're going to get to this, all this stuff real soon. They all do neat things. But all I'm going to do right now is go to, these are the most important, then these. You see these little lines right here. I'm just going to go to invert. And that right there is a keystroke, Command I, invert. So there I've got the opposite side of the color wheel going on. And I'm going to also go over here to edit, because I want to edit the image itself and transform and flip any way you want vertically. All right, so now I've got two absolutely different images made out of the same geometry. And now I can go and select load my selections, what I've saved. I'm going to go slow here so I can, so I've saved, there is my mask that has the selections. And this is a latent selection. It's just doesn't print. It makes your file more weighty, more information, more memory. But it's used to just do this. Select, load selection, happy Halloween, and go, okay, there's my selection. Now I got to go check and see that's a selection, that's not. So when I hit delete, I've got a new image. Command D of one layer on top of another with the color inverted. Pretty neat, huh? Questions, anybody? Somebody say something. Yes, speak up, Lily. You muted yourself. Okay.
So this recording, is it gonna be uploaded like right after this class? Because I want to have the recording up and then like follow along.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can stop it, you can scroll it, you can look it over again. It's just like a video.
Where will it be uploaded to?
I'll send you the link.
Okay. Cool.
I got a YouTube channel, a Marymount YouTube channel. And you'll see when you get there, you'll see all my classes as a semester goes along. So you can review this. Okay. And I got another section of this. So I'm going to do this again tomorrow. But that is our goal. Let me see what, let's see what, let's see if I did all this. I changed this file is 11 by 8.5. I don't know why I made that mistake. You won't get this, you'll have to remember it, but it's on the video. Image size, resolution, color picker, brushes, area and color selection, tools, foreground, background relationships, move tools, layers, channels. I did all that, right, everybody? This parallel instructions and techniques for the following graded project, this exercises are going to be used in your graded project that's coming up next after we do this. Remember, we're doing projects and tutorials at the same time because it's more fun that way. Doing a bunch of different tutorials all on the line and then doing a project isn't as much fun. So this sequence of events that happen will be incorporated into your first project, except for this content isn't going to be a painting. It's going to be illustrating a poem. And we're going to use other imagery like photographs, which brings me to one of the rules of this class is that you cannot use altered photography. You can only use as straight photography as you can find, because we're going to do the altering of the photography. That's our goal here. You can use your own photography. You can use your own illustrations. You can't use anybody else's illustrations. You can't use anybody else's paintings. I'm looking up altered images just to show you. This isn't, I thought I'd get some better than this, but. So that's an altered image. You can see that, right? Everybody understand what I'm talking about? There's like a lot of retouching going here. That's an altered image. Digitally enhanced. Actually, everything you see out there has been digitally enhanced now. There are very few things that are unretouched, at least color corrected. You know, these images are acceptable. They've all been, I'm sure, color corrected, but they're not warped into some, except for that one. You can't use something like that. So you get my gist, right? Yeah. And because you're going to do this, so you want to do that, you do that. That's what or something like this. We're going to do that. That's what we're learning to do. So you got to start out with this, right? But first of all, we got to get a poem. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I just wanted to make the rules of the game going on here because we're the artists now. We don't need anybody else to do this for us. So that's it, folks, for today. Got some questions? Shoot them at me. I'm ready.
I have a question. You used Command J to do something, and I didn't catch what it was for.
It was to lift up a image, but you got to have a selection going on. So I'm going to go and select, load my selection, and there's my mask. I could do it that way. There's my mask, or you know, you can do it any way you want. I'll just make a weird shape here. And go Command J. And there it is, that weird shape. Now, I've been using this Command J, but I think there's layer. There was a way to do this without the keystroke. I thought there was, but I have been forever using Command J. Duplicate layer, but that's not it. Let's see what happens there. See, that's duplicating an entire layer. It's not just the selection, even though I got this selection going on. So all I can give you is Command J, because I don't see where that is layer by cut. Shift Command J. Oh, there it is. And it went to the background color. That's why that's black. But there it is. So thanks for asking that question, because I'm going to go back here and I hold my shift key down, click there, I click there, hold my shift key down, and I can go merge layers. Merge layers. Oh, and I want to go, I don't want to do that. I want to go, let me see.
I think it's because you don't, yeah, the I.
Yeah, that's right. Merge layers. Thank you. Merge layers. There. So that merged it. So I'm going to do this again because I don't use this. I'll just make a selection. Layer. Where was it? No, selection. No, layer. I forgot where it was because I don't use it. Duplicate layer. We did that, and that wasn't it. What? Help me out. What did I do? It was layer. Layer by cut. There's Command J right there. See? Layer by copy. That'll do it. There's your keystroke. That answers your question. I don't use it because the keystroke's easier. But it's kind of buried as well up here. But there it is. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So that's recorded as well. I use Command J. But there's those keystrokes, good to know the keystrokes, but there are, pull down ways to do it. And if we learn, we're going to learn keystrokes as well, but the learning where the stuff is the easiest way to learn how to do how to do this, not trying to figure out what the buttons are, but you can do that later. And because I've been teaching this for so long, I didn't even use these buttons, but if I was just on my own, I'd be using them all the time because it's much quicker. You don't have to go up here and do this kind of stuff. That's all I got for you today, folks. Unless you want me to do something else. I think that's enough, isn't it? That's enough? Yes? Question? You just ask, Paulina. Otherwise, I'll miss you.
You said that we have to like flatten the image or something. Can you show how to do that to be able
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
So here's my two images. And I don't want this in a Dropbox, like I said. I want you just to flatten it and flatten image right here. And file, save as, JPEG. This means to me that it doesn't have layers. If I save it this is just a nice way to organize your files. If I save it as a Photoshop file, that would be a PSD. You can see my folder here. That means that I've got layers on that one. That means it's flat. It's very nice way to keep yourself organized, and so you know what you can work on. And I always, when I'm doing jobs, and I do jobs all the time, I always keep a layered file, and then I turn it to a JPEG or a TIFF. That's the best file format right there. This has the most information. This is JPEG for mailing and putting on the web and stuff like that. So, and then there's a bunch of other stuff here. We're not going to get into all of it, but we'll get into a couple of them. So the JPEG, save it, email it to me. You get credit. You get a plus on the first tutorial. Okay. Are we happy? Give me a thumbs up for happiness. Okay. See you next week. Yes? Any other questions? No? Yes.
So for the tutorial, are we just kind of supposed to go back through this video and just do it like what you just said and upload it to the folder? Or do we need to go?
Email it to me. Don't upload this. You'll upload your projects to the box, not the tutorials.
Okay.
I'm trying to eliminate all this extra stuff.
Okay. But for the tutorial, the tutorial is this video, right? This recording?
Yes. As will be all of the rest.
Okay.
This is the way this class can go. I'm gonna demonstrate it, record it, you do it, you submit it. When we get to the projects, you'll be showing your projects. Well, we might, if you do these tutorials, we might look at some of you'll save this as a layered file on your own computer. So we might do some show and tell next week, so show off your work, because that's always lots of fun to see how people do it. Now I use this grid, but I could have done this mask using circles instead of rectangles. And of course your paintings will all be different. So there's a little room for creativity here. Not a lot, but a little. The more we go, the more opportunity for you to come up with inventive solutions will occur. So any other questions?
There's no project due next week, right? Just the tutorial?
Let's take a look here at the due tutorial painting grid. That's all that's due. Next week, I'm going to present this as a first project, project 1. And we're going to do a tutorial, vegetable head tutorial. And that's what you're going to do for next week. That's what I'm going to do in class at next week, and that will be due the following week. So, I give you the tutorial, you do it on your own, and you submit it to next week. Then we keep going forward keep going down this is 11 weeks, and we've got 14 weeks to fill. So this will be filled with 11 of them, and the rest of them will be concurrently these 4 projects. So that's how it's going to work, and it works out fine. So is that all right? That was a thumbs up. All right. See you next week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.